Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Monday. I'm sorry I'm a couple minutes late. My good camera was lagging, so I was trying to fix that instead of using this crappy one that has like a grainy feel to it. But I just took it off and we're going with my older version. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. We are going to talk about a highly requested topic. I'm always surprised at what you guys pick every week. Um, it's just really, really interesting because I always think that you guys, this is why I love letting you vote every single week because I always think that you guys want something. And then when I count the votes on Sunday night, I realize that I'm oftentimes wrong. So I'm super excited. Let me just pull up my notes really quickly to make sure that we have everything. How is everyone doing? Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about 3 money practices that have helped me amplify my income and abundance. And I lied to you. I lied to you because I told you I would give you three, but when I was writing down notes for this one, I realized that I have a lot. Actually, I have a funny story. One time I don't remember, I had like $200 or something like that I lost. And I told Nick, I'm like, I can't find my $200 because I put money everywhere. And it was so funny because Nick was like, "All right, if I was Barb's, where would I put it?" And then he like found my money like under like a little money tree that I have in a little altar that I have. So I have a lot of money practices, okay? Some of them are weirder than others. Some of them are more strategic, some of them are more energetic. So when I was trying to figure out like what am I sharing with you, it was very, very hard. So I lied. It's not going to be three, it's going to be one or two extra ones just because I think that they're also super, super important. Okay. Um, let's see. Okay. So I just want to normalize this because I feel like it's so easy to feel like everyone else has this money thing on lock. And I want to come like super honest with this. This is a an area that I struggle with a lot, right? Like I have a ton of like money fear and worries, and it's just something that I always have to work through. And the reason why I want to say that, like, put it out there so that you're aware, is that I want you to come into this from a place of like, I want to learn versus like a place of like, she has it all figured out and she's perfect. Okay. Because that's not the case at all. This is a department that I'm constantly working in. This is a department that I'm constantly fixing. This is a department that it may just be like my thing, like it may just be like my lifelong thing that I have to like work through and get comfortable with. And you know, it's really funny because when you first start a business, you think, well, when I get to a certain level, like I will feel better financially, right? Like my money drama or my money fears or my money stress or worries or whatever, they'll probably dissipate because you get to a certain income level and you're booking consistent clients. And like, why would this ever be a trigger or a problem for me once I get to this level? And I always like to say that that's the biggest lie that you can tell yourself. Okay. I promise you, that's not going to happen. Okay. The way that you work through your money stuff and the way that you start amplifying your own income and financial life is by working on it right now, not when you reach a certain level, not when you book the client, not when your bank account is at a certain point, because the habits that you have now are the habits that you're going to bring forward in your business for however long you decide to be in business, right? So stop thinking when this happens, I will feel better. When I have this amount of money, I won't worry about it. Or when I know how to book consistent clients and hit consistent multiple 5 figure months, things will be super easy. Because if you bring your old patterns and you don't know how to process them and create the right habits, um, and the right practices, then it's going to be really, really hard once you're there, right? You think like once I have more, it'll be easier to handle and manage and practice and create habits around. But the reality is like when you have more, you just have more capacity to amplify what you are experiencing, whether that's worry, stress, overwhelm, like whatever it is. Yeah. All right. Okay. Good morning, Penny. Good morning, Erna. So happy that you guys are here. Definitely let me know that you're here live. Um, Always love knowing that. If you're watching the replay, let me know as well. Okay, so before we dive in, I have one thing to say. I've been holding out on this for a while, but we have an upcoming free workshop that you guys are going to love. It's called the Worthy and Wealthy Workshop. We're going to dive deep into absolutely everything that needs to be done so that you can finally start feeling like a worthy and wealthy coach. We're going to dive through like all the fears that come up as a coach, all the things that stop you, all the internal things that are blocking you from creating the abundance that you want in your coaching business. It is the thing that I've been the most excited for all year. It's a brand new workshop. So if you want to join us, drop the word worthy in the comments. Okay, let me know that you want to join us. Drop that word, and we'll go ahead and send out the link to you. Okay, um, so let's go to number one. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about was respecting your money. Okay, and there's like a lot of examples that I can give you here, but it's so important, like, especially once you start generating an income, you may still be working like a full-time job and also your business, or you're going all in your business and you start making money with it. And it's such a different experience than just getting paid. Okay, it's a very different experience than, okay, I just get paid. This is what I do with my paycheck. These are my personal expenses, and this is my leftover, right? Like when you're a business owner, there's so much more that goes into it. So much more that goes into it, right? Like you need to make coaching investments, marketing investments, business overhead. Then you need to do your personal stuff. Then you need to save up for taxes. So there's like so much that goes into it. And I'm not saying this to overwhelm you. Trust me, I did this very imperfectly for many years. But the more that you can start respecting your money right now, the easier that it's going to be for you to manage it and handle it once you start making more and more and more. Okay. So different ways that you can start respecting your money is like tracking your income. You would be surprised how many of my clients come to me and they're not tracking their income, right? It's really funny. We have coaching sessions and they'll be like, well, I'm really stressed out about this. I don't know where this is going to come from or whatever, whatever. And I'll be like, can we track how much money you've made? And so many times they go back and they're like, oh my God, I actually made more money than what I anticipated, right? So tracking your income is so, so, so important. Not only does it keep you in a place of like things are coming, even if they're small at the beginning, but it also it gives you a little bit of mental clarity when you're playing around with your money, right? Like you know how much money you're making, you know how much money you can invest. And look, at first, this is going to be a little bit difficult. If you're just getting started, it's going to be hard to track like smaller sales or to track like more sporadic sales. But it's such an important habit, right? Like it all goes back to respecting everything that comes your way, to respecting everything that you're making, and so on. Other ways that you could do that is track your expenses, organize your bills, um, even literally like organize your bills as to like what money is coming out, but also organize your bills in your wallet, right? Like I always have my bills facing the same way. Like really respect what you want to attract more of, really respect what you want to amplify in your life. Because if you're a mess around it, right, it's going to be really hard for you to create more. And I'm not saying it's impossible. Okay, I'm just saying that it's just going to be so much more easier for you. Do your bookkeeping every week if you're at that stage of your business. Look at your bank accounts, right? Like don't ignore that. And I know this is harder sometimes than others, right? Like I know, for example, when I racked up some credit card debt last year, it was harder for me to look at my bank account, right? But you cannot ignore the problem that you're trying to solve for, right? Like if you're trying to solve for the problem of I want to make more money, that's not going to happen by ignoring it, right? Like we have to respect what's in front of us and we need to be super aware of what's happening so that we can work around it and create more of that. um Not ignore things because they feel overwhelming. Put money aside, right? And so many people give me resistance about this because they're like, well, I can't do this at this point, right? Like my um I'm putting so much time, energy, and financial effort into my business, or I'm just not at that stage yet. And I feel like a lot of people look at savings like I need to save like 100, 1,000, or $10,000. And like I want you to just look at it as like creating a respectable habit for your money. It's not about building a massive uh CD or building a ton of wealth in your savings accounts from one day to another. It's about getting into the habit of respecting your money, right? Like save some of it, even if it's $1 a week, it doesn't matter. It's about the habit, it's about the energy, and it's about the the way that you're deciding to show up for it, right? Like, I don't care if you're saving $5 a month, you're at least saving something, which most people don't, right? And this may sound really basic to some of you, but little things like that have really helped me feel more comfortable with things. And especially like because you start implementing this early on, then when you start getting a lot of revenue and when you start getting a lot more money and a lot more clients and a lot more transactions and you start investing bigger, because you've created this respectable habits for your money, it's so much easier. Like you've already created a container for more of it to come. Okay. Let's see. Good morning. Let's see. Do you guys worthy? Yay. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. We will send over that link. Okay. Habit number two, practice number two. So the first practice is about you. It's about how you are taking care of your stuff. It's about how you are receiving. It's about how you are handling what you're receiving and creating space to receive more. Okay. Practice number two, it's about giving, circulating, investing, right? And this one gets a little bit of a trigger for some people, right? Like this one gets a little bit difficult because it is triggering. But here's the thing, as someone who literally consistently worried about money for as long as I could possibly remember, I know for a fact that when I'm like coming from a very clingy space where I'm like, oh my God, no, like I can't invest, I can't spend, I can't circulate, I need to save, save, save because what if this happens or what if this happens or whatever, then that really blocks so many things. For starters, I'm expecting other people to invest in me, right? For starters, I'm expecting other people to buy my programs or my services. So that becomes so much more harder if I'm like clinging onto things and not recirculating what I'm making. Okay. Now, everything I'm teaching you today, it's going to be at different levels. Okay. I don't really mind if you are at a point in your life where like you can invest like $1 in like a PDF book. It doesn't matter. You want to circulate and you want to start getting into that feeling of like everything that I put out comes back to me, right? Like you just really want to start getting into that giving and receiving energy because otherwise you're going to create so much like anxiety and clinginess to it. And then you're going to be expecting other people to do things that you don't expect of yourself. Okay. Um, so yeah, so a really big habit that has helped me is like release a lot of my income back into the world. And this is not easy. I think a lot of people have the misconception of like, well, you've been doing this for a while, you've worked with a lot of coaches, you've invested in a lot of things. Like obviously that's easy for you. And it's not. It's not. That's such a big misconception that like just because you've worked with coaches in the past, investing in big things like that it's easy. Or like just because you've been in business for a while, investing in a new software or more Facebook ad spend is easy. It's not. It's hard choices, right? And especially if you come from a space of like scarcity and clinginess or like worry or like consistent worry about finances and stuff like that, it's even harder, right? So it's not about it being an easy thing. It's about it being a thing that serves you in the future. It's about being a thing that helps you build confidence. It's about being a thing that helps you build self trust, right? So, like when I say, like, I literally just told my coach I'm going to sign up with her again. When I say that, it's not like, oh, this is super easy. It's so easy for me to like circulate back my income. It's not something that comes naturally, but I say it from a place of like, okay, cool, this feels really hard but I can trust myself enough to do this. This feels really hard, but I can trust myself enough to do the work for this to come back. Okay. And I'm obviously saying this with coaching because that's an investment that a lot of you make, and that's an investment that a lot of people here want to make. But this is with everything, right? Like I remember struggling to get my first investment into my business, which was my scheduling system. That's the first thing I remember perfectly. Like besides education, coaching certifications, and things like that, one of the first things that I invested with was my scheduling system, which is Acuity, which I love. That was $10. And I remember like fighting that decision for so long. I'm like, can I really do this? Can it, it's really, really hard for me to do this one. But I know that it has been really, really, really helpful. It has helped me build my confidence and my capacity to trust myself. And it really has helped me get so much more comfortable with expecting other people to do the thing that I'm constantly doing. Okay. Um, and I get you. I get you. I get you if you feel like this is going to be hard. I get you if you feel like there's so much like energy around that and so much charge around that. I get it. I don't know if you guys know this, but when I started my business, I had like a $3,000 check that my school has sent me. So I did like a $20,000 program and I got some loans for that program. And after, like, while I was in school, I started some of my business, but it wasn't like crazily growing because I was obviously still in school. And then when school was done, I was like, all right, well, that's it. I'm going all in. I think that's when I got fired from my last job, which was really crappy. I was just talking about it with Nick today. I got fired from my last job. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it. And literally, my school was like, hey, by the way, you didn't use up all of your student loans. So here's like a $3,000 check. That's how I started my business. So, like with a $3,000 check, $10 every single month felt like a lot of money when I had to get gas, sustain myself. I mean, thankfully, I was still living with my parents at that point because literally love my parents, and South American household is super normal for you to live with your parents for a while. But I know how hard it feels to recirculate the money that you have, especially when you feel like you're limited. But you start learning, okay, not only how to manage and handle and respect what comes in, but you also start learning how to recirculate it and trust yourself enough to invest in the right things from a very intuitive, uh, calculated way. Okay. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? Okay. Another really amazing practice that I have to catch myself all the time. I do this all the time still, but changing the way that I speak. Okay. And this is really hard because people around me speak um, in the least conducive way to create more financial abundance and to create more income and to feel more comfortable around money and stuff like that. But little things like I catch myself every time I say I can't afford things. Okay, I change it to like it's not a priority for me right now, right? Like I really catch myself around the things that I say and the ways that I think about things, and it's very, very, very hard. Okay, most of these things are not easy for me, and they may not be easy for you, but I promise you they're going to make such a big change in your life. So you have to start changing the way that you speak about things. There's such a different um, energy and feeling to saying I can't afford something. That just feels so restricting. It feels so scarce. It feels like you don't have enough. And like that may be the case, right? But like, is there a better, more empowering way of saying that? Could you say like, hey, it's not the right moment for me, but if this is something that I really want, it's something that I'm willing to work for. Or like, hey, maybe like at this specific moment, I don't have everything financially in place, but I'm gonna like brainstorm ways in which I can do it. Or like, hey, it's not that I can't afford it, it's that it's just not a priority for me right now, right? So like really change the words that you say around things. Even sometimes with my clients, I'll catch them saying like, well, if I book a client, and I'm always like, no, no, no. When you book a client, right? Like you have to change the way that you speak because it's going to change the way that you're thinking and the things that you're believing, right? Like it's not if you're going to book a client, it's when you book a client. Like it's going to happen. It may not happen today or tomorrow, but it's going to happen. And that's one of the reasons why my clients are constantly getting yeses, booking clients, hitting 5-figure months, scaling their business. It's because we really work on shifting the way that they think, which by the way, it's something that we're going to do in the worthy and wealthy workshop. So drop the word worthy in the comments if you want to join us. Things like I don't have the money to how can I find the money, right? Like, and it may not be a priority right now, or it may not be something that you can find right away. Totally fine, right? Like, there has been many investments in my business where I've had to wait. I literally have had to wait months or even years to be able to make them, right? Like, I can think of so many right now, like hiring a Facebook ad strategist. A lot of people were doing that right away when they first started their business. I didn't. I did it for years. So I'm not saying this from a place of like, well, you have to make it happen and you have to like figure it out. Like, I'm just saying it from a place of like, if you really want something, stop thinking about it as like, I can't afford it, I can't have it, I don't have the money, and think about it as like, do I really want this? Is this really worthy enough for me to put the energy and effort? Because if it is, then I know I can trust myself to figure it out. Okay. Um, and another thing that I try to do, and again, this is really hard because it's such a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a personal thing, right? So like, I try to not look at things as expensive. I just try to look at them as things that I value or not value enough. Okay. So this is something that I really try to understand at a very fundamental level, which is like expensiveness is relative, right? So like what's expensive to me may not be expensive to you, or what's expensive to you may not be expensive to me. So it's a very relative thing. Um, and I try to look at it as like it's not about things being expensive, it's about things being valuable enough for you to invest in. So, for example, my friends, they love shopping. Like a lot of my high school friends love shopping. And I remember one time I went to we had like a reunion, and one of my friends said, like, yeah, I don't really use my credit card. I would only use my credit card like if I want to buy like a $3,000 purse. And that really helped me on like it really like helped me solidify this belief and helped me understand that like things are not expensive in the sense that we think they are. It's just like some people value some things more than others. See, like at this point of my life, if I had to use my credit card and I had to invest thousands of dollars, it wouldn't be in a purse, right? Like I'm not against buying purses. I happily go shopping, you know, but I would probably invest it in coaching, in team, in VAs, in an OBM, in Facebook ads, right? Like I would invest it in something that I value and that I feel like will generate a higher return of investment. See, my friends are not entrepreneurs, so I understand that a purse will probably generate a higher return of investment on them because it will make them happy, it will make them feel good, whatever their idea is. But I really try not to look at things as expensive. I just try to look at things as it's just what people value most. Okay. This is hard because sometimes I judge people and I think like, really, you value that much to spend that much money? Like for example, a car. I'm probably gonna have to get a new car soon. I paid off my car and I haven't had car payments for a while, which has been the best thing ever. I don't drive. Like I literally don't drive. I remember I always had relatively nice cars since growing up, and I always paid for my cars. And I've been thinking about it a lot, and I think getting a nice car is such a waste of money for me. I have had My dad has been here for a year, so thankfully he's been able to stay here for COVID for an entire year. I've let him borrow my car for that entire year, and I have been more than fine. Okay, because I work from home. Nick thankfully has been working from home. Like I really rarely drive, so I don't see the value in investing a lot of money in a car. So it's not that a car it's expensive or not. It's that to me it's not something I value enough to invest more money than what I want to invest. Anyway, so that's number 3. Let's go to number 4, which I think it's my favorite one. Number 4 and 5 are my favorite ones, and they're bonus ones. These are the ones that I told you I lied to you about. But hold on, let me see if you guys are saying something. Okay, no, we're all good. Okay, number 4. This is very, I know I keep saying this are hard, but this is the hardest thing that I will ever teach you. If you're my client and you know that we do so much work around it, if you want to join us for the Worthy and Wealthy workshop, we're going to do so much work around it. But it is detaching from the money and actually focusing on serving, okay? And focusing on the process. Okay, here's what I mean. If you want to make more money in your business, the best thing that you could do, and especially if you've been struggling to make money for a while, the best thing that you could do is stop thinking about the money. Um, and if money and finances and abundance is a very triggering thing for you, if it generates a lot of emotion, a lot of fear, a lot of worry, a lot of stress or overwhelm, this is also one of the best things that you can do. Stop thinking about the money. Detach from it. Detach from when it will come, how it will come, and it becomes so much more easier to make it come and to create more of it and to attract more of it. Because what we do when we do that is we are focused on the thing that will actually bring the money, right? So like I think a lot of times entrepreneurs obsess themselves with like, oh my God, how do I make like my next like 5 figure month? How do I get my next client? How do I have someone say yes and book and make their payments, right? And that's like the wrong thing to focus on. You're not focusing on the process of growing your business. You're not focusing on the process of creating more money. You're focusing on and obsessing on a number. Okay. And obsessing on a number and obsessing on a result is never going to accelerate your path towards that result. So if you can detach from the money itself and just be like, cool, this is what I want to make. Okay, this is my next income goal. Let's say I want to make 3,000. Let's say I want to book my first client at 500. Whatever the hell it is. You just grab that goal and you're like, cool, this is what I want. I'm just gonna like set it aside in the back of my mind. I'm not gonna forget about it. It's just there, but I'm not gonna obsess about it. And what I'm gonna focus on is I'm gonna focus on literally the process of getting there. Okay. Literally the process of growing the business or the process of asking for the raise or the process of selling whatever you're trying to sell, like whatever method you are using to generate more money. Okay. Now you can think of creative solutions. Now you can think of different ways in which you can amplify your income. Now you can think on how you can grow your community and how you can sell more and how you can sell more effectively. Now you can focus on what's not working with your conversion rates on your sales calls. Now you can focus on why are your email rates low and how can we get them higher. Now you can focus on a really good outreach strategy because you're not focused on a specific number. You're actually focused on the things that's going to get you to that number. So this is one of the hardest things that I will ever teach you. This is one of the hardest things that I ever do. But detaching from the actual outcome and from the actual number is the number one thing that will get you faster to that number. Okay. So I'm not saying we're not strategically setting goals. I'm not saying we're not strategically uh, projecting our income and what we want to make. Like, obviously, that's a part of business, but we're doing that and then we're letting it go. And then we're focusing on what needs to be done to make that happen. Does this make sense? I need you guys to let me know. Does this make sense? Do you understand? Is this hard, easy? Give me some insights, whether you're here live or watching the replay. I want to know. And we are going to go to my last point for today, which is so, as I said, a lot of people, myself included, have a ton of money fear and money worries and overwhelm and all of that good stuff. Okay. So, what we do a lot is we spend a ton of time projecting, like, well, what if this happens? What if this doesn't happen? What if I don't get a client? What if I don't reach my goal? What if I make this investment and it doesn't pay off? Okay. So, we spend a ton of time trying to not do the thing that we're obsessing about. Okay. So, we spent a ton of time obsessing about getting your next client, or you spent a lot of time obsessing about like what would happen if this investment doesn't work, or what would happen if I lose all of my money, or what would happen if, right? Like what if, and we're just trying to fight it. Like we have all of these thoughts and fears and doubts and insecurities, and we're just constantly fighting it. We're like, well, what if this happens? But like, no, I don't want to think this. Okay. So something that really helps me is, and this comes a little bit from like detachment, which is very related to my last point, but something that really, really helps. It's a great practice that I have now, which is like I visualize myself like losing all of my money. This is a triggering topic, okay? I know this is a very loaded topic, but you guys wanted to kind of get a little bit of an insight of what I do. But I just visualize myself losing it all of my investments, my assets. I imagine my business failing, right? So I'm like, okay, well, what if this happens? And it really puts me in a place of like radical acceptance of like, you know what? This is a possibility, right? Like it's somewhat unlikely, to be honest with you, but it is a possibility. And if it does happen, then what? Right? Like, would it be the end of the world? Like, would I be okay? Would I be alive? Would I be breathing? Like, I probably would, right? Like, chances are that I would. Chances are that Yes, it may not be what I imagine it to be. Yes, it may not be what I wanted it to be. Yes, it may be a hit and I may not feel good and I may feel sad and uncomfortable and resentful and upset, right? Like that could happen. And I just radically accept that that's a possibility. And now that I radically accept it, I'm okay. I'm like, all right, that could happen. So I'm just gonna focus on doing the work on a consistent basis to expand my chances of that not happening, right? So it really helps me release some of the charge worry and automatic thoughts that I have. Okay. Um, a lot of my clients hate this exercise when I first bring it to them, if I ever bring it to them, but they often come back and say, like, this is one of the best things I've ever been able to do because you always have that thought and you're always trying to fight it and you're always trying to like resist it. And you're like, no, 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 no. Like, the thought is there, but like, that can never happen because if it happens, it would be the end of the world. Once you realize, like, okay, it's okay. It's okay. Like, that could happen. I could never get another client. Like, that could happen. I literally could have someone never say yes to me again. And then it really helps me see, like, how likely is that really to happen? Like, give me a break, right? Like, there is no way that I won't get another client if I don't continue putting in the work consistently. There's just no way. Like, evidence shows that that's just not what's going to happen. But even if it did, then I'm okay, right? Like, I will be okay. So now I'm not like super stressed out about it. Now I'm like, okay, cool. There's a slight chance that that may be a possibility, but I'm fine. So it's really about releasing a lot of that. So the more pressure you put on something, the more you repel it. Okay, I don't know if for um I think for any kind of coaching, right? Like whether you're doing career or relationship or business or life or whatever, like whenever your client wants something, right? Like and they're like obsessing over it. They're like, oh my God, I need to lose the 20 pounds. I need to lose the 20 pounds. I need to lose the 20 pounds. Or I need to hit the 5-figure month. I need to get the next client. Or I need to get the 6-figure job or whatever. Whatever type of coaching you do, whenever your client is obsessing from a place of like stress, they're probably repelling it or they're probably so stressed out and like coming from a place of like so much fear that they're not doing the work to get it right. um Instead of focus, like for example, like if they're obsessing about losing the 20 pounds because you're a health coach, instead of focusing on their next meal and on their next plate and putting the right portions in and adding some vegetables on that plate and that present moment and the things that they need to be doing, they're so obsessed over the 20 pounds that they're just like unconsciously eating things that they shouldn't be eating, right? And it happens with everything. It happens with money, it happens with health, it happens with any desire that you have. The more that you obsess about it from a place of like, I can't have it, the less that you're present and doing the things that will actually get you to have it. So, for example, the more pressure you put on getting clients, the more that you repel them. You come from a place, but if instead we can come from a place of like passion and trust and not desperation and be like, yeah, sure, like that could be a probability, but I'm fine with that. And I'm here to like do the work and trust myself that I'm doing the right thing and trust myself that things always come and trust myself that things always end up being okay, even after the roughest patches of my life, even after unexpected surprises, even after things that I never thought would happen to me. I'm here, I'm fine, I'm okay. I probably will be okay no matter what. So, like, let me just accept that and release it and focus on doing the work. Okay. So that is it for me. I had so many more that I could talk about, like strategic ones, uh, not strategic ones. So if this is the conversation that you're enjoying, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. I'm happy to give you more behind the scenes around this topic, or dive deeper into more things. But I need to know that it's something that is actually helping you and that it's something that you actually enjoy and that you're interested on. So yeah, that's it for me. I'd love to know, what money habits do you have? Like, what are things that you have in place to help you in this department? And if you're joining us for the Worthy and Wealthy workshop, definitely drop in the comments the word worthy and we will send you the link. It's going to be in a week and a half, and it's literally the best workshop that I put out all year. I know I say this every time I put out something, but this is brand new content. This is a brand new thing that I'm ever teaching. And whenever I do something brand new, there's just so much excitement behind it because there's like, I'm going to teach you so many things that I haven't talked about in the past. Okay. So, Worthy and Wealthy Workshop, drop the word worthy or wealthy, whichever one you want. Let me know what money habits you have in place. Let me know if this is a conversation that you enjoy. And other than that, I will see you guys throughout the weekend here. I'll be coming live very often as I launch this workshop and can't wait to see you next Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Thank you, everyone who's here live all the time. And thank you for all of you who watch the replay. Bye.